We are live. Thank you for joining me for season 1, episode 5 of Helstrom Committed. The episode is rated TVMA, so will this video be? There will be spoilers for everything MCU and adjacent leading up to, and including when this episode first aired, or premiered, whatever. Another episode I absolutely fucking loved. Let's dive right in. So, yeah, I really appreciated finding out more about the. Well, let's see. I guess it was more that we. No, yeah. Okay, finding out more about what exactly is it that Victoria has been seeing, because we know it isn't 100% reality, at least not all of the time. Which is one area where maybe I already mentioned this in a video on an early episode, but yeah, the show. Um, what's the word? It's like how, yeah, it's one of those cases where demonic possession can bear some resemblance to certain mental health diagnoses. But yeah, we see now what it is she's been seeing. We already knew that she basically, when she saw Damon and or Anna, yeah, she thought they were still children, and now we see the actual, yeah, Cathara has been using her memories against her like that. And it was very effective the way that, first we just see it play out, and then it goes back and we see it play out, but slightly faster, slightly trimmed down, and then again and again. And it's one of those things, I am absolutely not the best person to talk about it in great detail, so I'll just, the when you hear about, it's essentially like a recurring hallucination or God damn it, it's been so long since I read about this in one of my books on psychology. Shit. But yeah, people who have breaks from reality will sometimes go over a specific scenario over and over again, and I don't know if it looks exactly the way it does here, but certainly they do a really solid job in this episode of illustrating, what that might feel like, because like immediately we, the viewer, pick up on why are we being shown the same thing, and it's very subversive. It's maybe it's good I watched this streaming instead of DVD. Maybe I would have thought that there was a problem with the disc or something, but yeah. And yeah, seeing her actually fight against Cathara, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Holy shit. The Helstrom siblings actually attacked each other. I mean, we knew it had to happen sooner or later. Glad it happened sooner rather than later. And I think, yeah, getting some resolution to Chris and Cathara. Meanwhile, the ending of the episode, yeah. Damn. Yeah, I think that might be it for the overview. Right, yeah, Gabriella trying to help Bryce, and, genuinely being like, she can't let go. Understandably, I'm not saying she should. Yeah, what she saw in that, yeah, the building, the blood building. I think that might, just, yeah. So, yeah. So, yeah, getting some resolution to Chris and Cathara. Meanwhile, the ending of the episode, yeah. Damn. Yeah, I think that might just about. Yeah. So, yeah. Getting some resolution to Chris and Cathara. Meanwhile, the ending of the episode, yeah. So, yeah. Getting some resolution to Chris and Cathara. Meanwhile, the ending of the episode, yeah. So, scene by scene. I think they did a really great job also with just like so. So yeah, first thing we see, the first run through is what actually happened, or at least Victoria's memory of it. And I thought they did a really great job with this sort of. It's one of those when you show child abuse in media. And I absolutely think that as long as you are being respectful, sensitive, and informed, you should do that. Not in every piece of media. Fuck no. That would, yeah, that's pretty high on the list of definitions for hell. Um, but every so often, there should be media that explores it, that faces it head on, for the same reason that I say that not all of them should, because it does happen and it's horrifying. It's one of the worst things that you know, yeah, human beings sometimes do to each other. And I really appreciated that they did show it the way they did, because some people think child abuse is, that when they hear the word child abuse, they assume like violence, physical violence. And that is part of it, yes. But it is important to note, it can be abuse if, I mean, we see it in this episode more than once. Yeah, like he very calmly, first he says you have to eat something, which, like, yeah, shit, if he's having to tell her that, he's being the parent here, that's not right for someone of that, yeah, of that age. Yeah, shit. Fuck, God damn it, I gotta watch. I always express the following. Obviously, I appreciate that once someone is an adult, if one or more of their parents needs help with, like maybe they're an alcoholic, like once you get past a certain age, and I'm not the right person to say what that is, but yeah, there is, then it is your choice. But I mean, fuck, if you ask a child, hey, if you're, you know, one or both of your parents were really, really struggling, would you like reverse the polarity and suddenly be their parent? Like, yeah, a lot of them would say, of course, yes, I'd do anything for them. That doesn't mean it's healthy. A child should have a healthy, normal childhood, if at all possible. So that's strike number one. Then, when they're sitting at the table, we see his feet. Like he's not showing it in his upper body, because she might notice that and yell at him. But he can't completely avoid some physical signs that he is fucking terrified of her, and no one should be terrified of their parents. And he very calmly and accurately points out Anna's not coming back. And I understand it provokes her anxiety. It's very upsetting for her to hear that. It's triggering for her. Again, I use that term non-ironically. But like, I get the sense that this is not the first time that this is taking place at a point in the timeline where it's been obvious for a while, and she keeps insisting on setting a plate for, you know and he's trying, yeah. The fact that he's terrified of her, but he does tell the truth, even knowing that it might upset her, and he's clearly like scared when she slams her hands on the table, and he doesn't react with frustration but fear. That tells me that he's wanted to say that for a very long time. There has been night after night after night where she insists on setting the table, and every few minutes she say, "Oh, I don't know. I'm sure she'll be here any minute now," and he can tell that it's not healthy for either of them. Can you tell I fucking love this show? God damn, just fucking perfect. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Okay. The scene. I'm not saying everything in the show so far, but I try to criticize the stuff I find needs it. And yeah, the first time it plays out, we see he says, "Mom, I have to tell you something. I'm sorry, but and yeah, the doorbell rings, and Victoria is confident that's got to be Anna, and yeah, it's of course her being committed um, to the institution that she's now been in. So let's see. Was that 20 years? I think it might be certainly a long time. God, I didn't fully think of it when I did my video on the. There was an earlier episode. I did a video on it, and there was the thing about he's worried that if he exercises Victoria, it might kill her. I didn't really think about it at the time, but by now it's dawned on me. When she was committed, he either maybe the powers hadn't manifested yet, because certainly we don't see them use their powers in any of the flashbacks so far. Maybe they had, but he just couldn't control them. There's a bunch of comic stories where a teenager has superpowers, but they can't quite control them yet, and yeah, that might be dangerous. And then years later, when he got to a point where he could control them, I think by then her physical condition had deteriorated to a point where if he tried, it could kill her, and he just had to fucking watch for, I guess, years as her condition got worse and worse and worse, and not really being able to do anything. And goddamn, I really appreciate this show just staring some of the worst fucking things in the world right in the fucking face. Yeah, it's so fucked having to watch one of your parents just their situation just get worse. Not being able to do any fucking thing about it. I'm gonna move on to another scene because yeah, it's fucking hitting home. Shit. Okay. Right. Goddamn. Damon in the. Oh right. Okay. In closing, I'll the last thing about the scene. So yeah, she says, "Well, I can't leave. I have to take care of my son." That's when she realizes, and he says later that's why he has to take care of Victoria, because he's the reason she got committed, and because he thought it was the right thing. I mean, okay, yeah, he knew it was the right thing. He just didn't know that her condition would deteriorate like that. Obviously, it is the right thing. Someone dealing with mental health problems of that magnitude needs help. Um, yeah, I think but yeah, when she turns back and looks at him and he's just standing there, I'm sorry, Jesus Christ. but yeah, great build up to the like the dark figure is approaching Damon, and he turns around and he's like, Jesus Christ, Bryce, I thought we agreed not to talk. This is Bryce, God damn, because it's very clever. It's yeah, um, he needs to talk, obviously, and um, I don't know. I guess when you're possessed by a demon, maybe a little bit of creeping, just is like left, yeah, left within you. But yeah, there's the thing about he needs to talk to someone, and yeah, from one fucked up scene to another. In a again, I really appreciate how sensitive it is being about some of these subjects. Bryce says, "I can't eat, I can't sleep. The things I've seen, that thing was inside me." You literally do not have to change one fucking word of that entire, yeah, what I just quoted, for it to apply perfectly to rape survivors. And yeah, obviously, I'm not claiming, that would be silly, that this is the first time that someone has done a piece of media that uses yeah, demonic possession or some kind of, or similar, yeah, use that as a metaphor for rape. But I do think it is done really, really well here. He needs to talk to someone about it. He at first struggles to find someone, and when he does find someone, one of the first things he says is, "Not here," you know, because sadly, a lot of rape survivors, you know, there's such stigma around it, which, like, we gotta, as a society, we have got to get to a place where someone who is a survivor of sexual assault or rape does not worry about someone blaming them or not believing them. It's so fucked. Okay, I am going to recommend a data mail video. Fuck, what was it called? I think it was something like 12% and other myths about rape or something along, yeah, something like that. I'm pretty sure you can find it if you go over his what he's his videos. Yeah, because he says it so well in that, and I would just be butchering. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, and the thing about yeah, we find out yeah, the thing isn't that why you told me I had to lie to the cops, among other reasons. So yeah, we didn't. I don't know that we needed to hear it, but I don't mind it. I don't think it's a problem. Yeah, obviously Damon told Bryce, "Don't tell the cops what the fuck happened," because yeah, um, and the let's see, I think, and yeah, that's again a thing. Okay, so I want to acknowledge, obviously, some of this stuff doesn't fit over perfectly because the yeah, the him not telling the cops the truth. What's the word? It's like let's see, they might think that he has a mental health problem and have him forcibly committed to a place where they don't realize it's a demon, and like it could have which obviously does not perfectly map onto um, that's not well, okay. There are sadly some places where you can be, yeah, where you can literally be punished for being raped. And just the thing where Damon says something like, "I can't imagine what you've been through," and Bryce responds, "Obviously not," and walks away. Because like Damon does want Bryce to get help, and yeah, goddamn, it's such a yeah, um, yeah, just fucking fantastic. I thought it really worked well the way they every so often would cut back to what Victoria was seeing. Let's see, and yeah, oh my god, Anna waking up thinking she's, oh my god. See, promise you won't laugh. There was a very, very brief time, I guess I was maybe a teenager, where I did kind of consider, could I act like professionally? And then I realized, no, for a very long list of reasons that I will not bore you, dear viewer, with. No, I cannot. I'm glad that did not end up happening. I mean, I think it's obvious at this point. I sometimes enjoy a performance, putting on one. Uh, because, like, hypothetically, that could have been me being temporarily fucking buried and having to, oh my god, Jesus Christ. Sticking the arm out there, and then she, and then she wakes up in bed, and there's still dirt on her, and she falls out of bed, and then she realizes there's no dirt. Yeah. Um, Certainly since her father came back, she's been having these nightmares of death and decay. Because I mean, I get, I don't know, for some fucking reason I didn't realize well enough, but yeah, like the other one, yeah, it was like she was dead and being eaten by let's see, worms, maggots. I can never fucking remember, but yeah, I mean, they call it worm food, So yeah, that's that's what she was vomiting up very specifically. I think there might also have been some dirt in there. So yeah, that's another thing I would not like to do on camera or in general. Having something like that in my mouth, even if I got to spit it out immediately. I think, does that bring on the but yeah, she agrees to come and see. Um, yeah, as the thing, I busted my ass getting down here. It's mom. Obviously, she really does have like just pitch perfect delivery. Like these deadpans, like worthy of Blackadder. Obviously, it's mom. I know that. I want to know what the fuck's up with her since you got, and yeah, there's, she's in a coma, and that was also, yeah, when Dr. Julie came in, and yeah, at first she thinks, God damn it, unresponsive again, and then we see she threw up, and she keeps trying to claw her way through the fucking floor, which very nicely done. Yeah, because that's all she can do on account of the fucking keeper skull. Yeah, I think. Let's see, and yeah, I really appreciate that. Again, I wasn't sure how quick they. Yeah, by the end of this episode, keep her skull under her has been resolved. We in the episode before this one was when we saw him go down somewhere with the skull, and then at the end of the episode we see, oh, it's under Victoria. And I just fucking say I really appreciate they gave her agency, and I do want to acknowledge. Okay, so it's one of those things that's I don't know if they were sufficiently sensitive. I'm not the right person to say, but I can understand if some felt they were not sufficiently sensitive because, like, okay, so it is obviously it's great that there's this much empathy for someone who realized that their spouse was abusive after their spouse had already abused their children, children, I guess. Um, yeah, the okay, because that was I mentioned in one of my videos on an earlier episode that they hadn't at the time gotten to, but yeah, here we are. They are pointing out, like, she just realized too late. She didn't let him abuse the kids. She literally couldn't do anything. And like, I say when and not if, because you should listen to people who realized their partner was abusive, because so many of them all say, how did I not see it? They blame themselves for and that's the thing, like, they did. Some people are incredibly good at hiding their abuse. Yeah. But yeah, she giving her a chance to fight back against another abuser, one that she can identify, because she realizes it's Kathara who's been using Victoria's own memories. She's at fault for the bad memory prison. She's another abuser, and now this time she will fight. And that is, so yeah, that's the thing. There are examples of people who, after not being, yeah, after realizing that their partner was abusive, after abuse had already taken place, some people like that become extremely acutely aware and try to help of abuse, and try to help prevent abuse in various ways. So I think that might be what they're trying to do with her here. Yeah, where it is iffy is this thing of, like, if we accept it as a metaphor for mental illness, then her fighting the demonic possession with willpower is like, there's a lot of mental health problems that are not a matter of willpower, and a number of them resemble what we're seeing, the effects of the possession here. Listen, it would be one thing if it was, because, like, I appreciate, listen, I know enough about addiction to know one of the the addict has to want to get back out of the addiction. Otherwise, treatment is not going to really take hold and keep. You know, but this isn't that. Um, let's see, and what was the last thing? let's see, was it maybe the I? Oh, maybe that was the last thing. Or maybe I'll think of it later. Uh, yeah. So the yeah, I think that brings us to so yeah. I appreciate how quick they get to the this part of like, oh hey, because they look around on the same floor, can't find Chris Yen anywhere, and they yeah, she points them to the scratchy scratch. Um, yeah, and they go, you know, into the sewer. The Hellstroms searching for Chris. Taker really hoping for a Ninja Turtle or at least Pennywise, and the maybe one of the Mario Brothers, something, Um, yeah, I think the yes. Let's see. I don't know. That is one thing I will say. The thing about they talk about the they talk about what to do in this thing of like, well, if you destroy the skull, you might lose the best weapon against your father. But can they save Victoria without it? Just really, really nicely done there. When they're at one point, they're um, yeah, uh, yeah. Before they get very far, Damon says to Taker, "We're only dealing with one Chris Yen sized person. What was like, you don't have, why don't you sit this one out or something like that." And Taker has to explain to him, like he's a child, what are you talking about? He might have like some kind of supernatural, you know, thing that you don't. This is my job, you dick. What the fuck are you talking about? That felt really weirdly out of character for Damon. I can only imagine that like someone going over the script was like, "Do we need to explain why Taker goes with the demon spawn that can fling things around with her mind?" And unfortunately, the other person was like, "I guess," and that's the best they could come up with. I don't know. I mean, shit, I don't know a character that it would make sense to both know enough about what's going on to even ask the fucking question, but also not know enough to know, yeah, it makes sense for him to come. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. The uh, what else? I quite appreciated in Victoria's battles the yeah, god damn. So yeah, the there's little Victoria feels like, was that, no, that was the doorbell, and gets up and she like tries to like pull at the wall paper that's loose, which like, yeah, it's like a fucking hangnail. How are you supposed to resist the urge, and we actually hear a little bit more of what Damon says, because there wasn't someone at the door yet, and yeah, Damon of course thinks it's going to be them, but it turns out to actually be Anna, and I guess at yeah, there's then the next short bit of that is Victoria rejecting, because deep down she knows that Anna didn't come back, because I get that Damon's thing is like telling the truth, but I fucking loved her calling him Professor Helstrom. He later does become, and it is true. the Thunder, what he said is not God bowling. Famously, God stopped bowling thousands of years ago. Don't be silly. He got really, really jealous of Fred Flintstone's ability to bowl. Did he even bowl well? I don't remember. I remember him bowling, but not if it was well. In my defense, I haven't watched one of those in 30 fucking years. I think that pretty well bring us to the. But yeah, he starts like being kind of a professor fucking know-it-all, and pointing out how did Anna get away, and the fact that it turns out the thing is suddenly. Yeah, fuck. That is genuinely. God damn, this is a fucking great episode. Jesus. Because Damon suddenly disappears. And Anna insists on not looking for him. You have to protect me. Because it's Cathara saying, you have to protect me. It's not about Anna. And Damon, the part of Victoria's mind that was resisting the idea that Anna ever came back, was being a nuisance. So Cathara fought back against it, and that was one of the things Victoria realized. You were the one who got rid of Damon. Let's do some more sewer talk. There's a lot of sewer to go through. Love the TED Talk line, and the discussion about what to do, and then Anna just fucking disappears, and she specifically waits. Like, she doesn't just like start to wander off or something. No, she looks, doesn't look like they're gonna notice, so she just walks off. And let's talk some more about Bryson and Gabriella. Great stuff. The thing about, he says something like, you don't know what I've been through. She says, and tell me, because so many times in life, that's how the solution starts, by listening to people who need help. And let's see, I think let's God damn, there's so many things. Okay, I'll let's see. So Cathar. The thing about let's have a tea party, mummy, and right. Also the electricity going. Anna at one point does scream because there's someone at the window, and when Victoria looks, we don't see anyone. Very nicely done, because okay, so it's Cathara convincing Victoria that Anna is terrified and needs protecting to get her in that mind space before revealing herself. And after a while, Damon's like, screw this, I'm gonna go check the fuse box. And let's see. Not long after, it's just the two of them in Anna's room, and the door shuts and won't open. And Anna's little evil, wicked grin, fantastic. And God damn it. So at one point, where Anna was is blurry, and we just see what's clearly an adult, stand up from the chair and walk towards Victoria, and then Victoria turns around. Oh, it's you. And it's such a great, because at first I thought, oh, it's gotta be him, right? He found a way in. Maybe it's him like saying, "This is it for you." Um, Jesus Christ, yeah. But the let's see. I think, yeah, and the thing about Cathara, I took the last form that I was known as before they destroyed me, and yeah, she starts telling her, no, 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 we have to do this, we have to do that. And eventually, yeah, Victoria realizes, no, this isn't, right. And at one point, she sees Damon on the floor with, bloody hands. And it looked like, because it looked similar to one of the flashbacks of abuse by the father. So I'm thinking that's what, yeah, her, the part of her mind that wants to resist Cathara is trying to use these images to motivate her. Um, yeah, I think that does pretty well bring us to great how Gabriella, over the course of the episode, near the end, she's like looking at the missing um, missing flyers, you know, for at least one of the people that she knows and we know is in the Blood's facility. And we even get the brief flashback, which is one of those cases where I don't think we needed it for reminder because, like, yeah, he's like we know what he looks like, obviously, but it was necessary because it shows, it was necessary. I'm saying it wasn't necessary for that because it shows she can't stop, like, and that's that's one of the definitions of trauma. You can't stop thinking about it. You can't unsee it. And yeah, I'll just put here. I am really, really stoked to see, because like there's only so many things it could be that something killed those the people working at the Bloods, somewhat ironically spilling their blood. Um, yeah, I mean maybe one of the patients, maybe the father that got possessed during her yeah because he was certainly resisting. Maybe he managed to get free and killed, possibly freed other of the ones kept in comas, which can be a problem. Maybe it was their father. Yeah, and that was such a great, I've wanted to show you this. I should have done it sooner. Now it's too late. Perfect. No notes. I think, doesn't that bring us to what's the other thing? After she, it was really great. The thing about, that's not my husband out there, is it? It's something you're afraid of. And yeah, she lets it walk right past her. And that looked fucking cool. Can I just say, because we've only seen, the skull. We haven't seen the Keeper Demon, and it's lanky motherfucker. Jesus. Just this, tall, and it moves slow, but with purpose. Jesus, that was really fucking effective and nicely done on getting because some actor had to carry. I mean, okay, today they can make those things so they don't weigh a ton. Still got to be awkward to be carrying around the skull on the I guess maybe on top of their head or something. But yeah, maybe that's why they're walking slow. They can't see where the fuck they're going because of the yeah. Maybe they need new glasses, but don't fit under the helmet. But I think that does pretty much just leave the last parts of the I know I've already said it, but it bears repeating. Both of the Helstrom, the child actors for the young Hellstroms, fantastic. I've already talked about Anna. I thought that Damon, the surprise, the way that he certainly he becomes the skeptic, to Victoria and Anna's, yeah, not so skeptic. Yeah, he's just constantly poking holes in it, and the conviction that we do eventually realize that's not quite a child's, though. That's an adult who deep down knows something's off. Yeah, I didn't realize it when I watched the scenes themselves, but thinking back, there was like this quality to him that felt, because yeah, what if I had to guess, I don't know, he's maybe 11 or something at this point. Would an 11-year-old really be like, no, stop, showing her affection, interrogate her? How did she get? It's like, no, that's not like, he'd be hugging her. He'd be like, I'm so glad you're back, But like, he never says he's glad she's back. Not at any point does he express that at all, because like that's not Damon. That's the rational part of Victoria taking the form of Damon. Yes. So the sewer. Um, was slightly confused because I'm sorry. It really looked like Chris, like Anna saw Chris when she right before she sees someone, and then turns to see, okay, yeah, for sure, I can walk off now without being seen. And then it takes her a while to find Chris. I mean, best I can figure, maybe when they were setting up the scene for when she right before she walks off, maybe they got a little mixed up and thought that scene was right before she finds him instead of a little while before, because yeah, that felt weird because he was not moving super fucking fast. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that should just have been that she hears a noise and then walks off, and a noise that sounds like it's coming from a human being, something like that. Right. Also, really loved. God, that was fucking gross. Yeah, evidently he has deteriorated further, because earlier he was like, no feeding Chris dead spiders. That's a rule. And now he's eating dead rats. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he's scared they're gonna like breed just completely out of control. Does anybody else remember that game? Fuck, it's got to be at least 20, 25 years, maybe old by now. But there was a game where you had to stop rats from overbreeding. That's kind of fun. I think it was just called Rats. Uh, when the rats breed in that game, there's human moaning sounds that always tickled me. I think, does that bring us to the so yes. I like the thing about there's no bushes down here to beat around, so why don't you just get to it? And yeah, we again have these really compelling discussions. How do you solve this? Yeah, again, in this show, the problems they're talking about that are difficult to solve are made up ones, but I do appreciate. I think everyone should learn that there is such a thing as a complicated, an imperfect solution to a complex problem in the real world. I think, doesn't the real world bring us to the fuck, what was the other thing? Let's get to the part where they find Chris. So I really loved how that's one part that I did feel like they really set up exactly right. first she tries just, honey dripping voice and like carrot, you know, but like prepare real fancy, like at the bear or something. She's like, let's, I'll treat you right. She's love bombing him basically. Yeah, I'll take you out for an expensive night on the town. I'm gonna, treat you better when you come back, and all this stuff. And it's this thing of like, yeah, I mean, he does. It is right for him to stand up to her, but it's also he should stop feeding his blood to the skull. So yeah, um, and then Damon walks up and tries shit. What's it called? The stick, I think, carrot and stick. That sounds right in my mind. And then the two siblings start tossing each other around. Um, and at one point, like Damon is lying there, and he almost gets hit by those pipes. Like that could have been real fucking bad. Like that could have fractured his fucking skull. And Taker manages to save him. Yeah, and in the commotion, Chris saw fit to run. Really, really nicely done. That's Jesus Christ. Yeah, and yeah, that's when we have the thing. Why do you want to save mom so badly? Because I'm the reason she was committed. And we also have the line, there's barely anything left of mom. And that again is something, sometimes, I'm not saying that this is something I have personally experienced, but I have heard of cases where that's, let's see, the thing I heard where I heard it was, when it is when someone has dementia, for example, and they can't recognize their own kids. Their own kids might be like, well, why would I bother? This person, my mom or dad doesn't recognize me anymore, and that's the thing, it is technically a form of grief. It's just, not all grief is for people who've already died, and it is painful, it fucking hurts to, god damn it. I'm repeating myself and revisiting memories I really don't want to, but yeah, it's that some people respond like that to seeing, this yeah, deterioration. Yeah, I think they're doing a really solid job throughout these episodes so far of, every so often. Has it been every episode? I'm not sure it's been every episode, but yeah, there's going to be some reveal about their past. Yeah, I think that might just about bring us to the. So yeah, he's gone, but he must have gone up here, and you also have the right. That was God. I can't believe I haven't been mentioning. Yeah, the thing about can they find Chris? And the thing about the skull, and then also her fighting Kathara, and we're seeing that visually. Love that. God. I don't think I ever again need to see, unless they can do an amazing job somehow. But I really love when it's visual instead of just oh, I can sense the person is really trying hard to do that. No, just fucking show it, man. If you're already having like psychic powers and shit, like yeah, fucking show it. It's this is part of what I love about comic book media, seeing visualized, these complex things, and just, yeah. Fuck. What was the other thing? There was another thing with it. Yes, and also, yeah, the fact that her condition is worsening. She ends up going into what is it? Cardi B, something like that. And Crash Cart, is it working? Fucking amazing job bringing these. Like, there's three different ongoing tension. The tension just builds and builds and builds. And I genuinely didn't realize until, yeah, like I wasn't sure she was going to be able to get to yeah, wake up. Victoria was, and survive the so yeah, really, really wonderfully done. And the fact that she was able to do it, that she didn't need saving, it just looked like she did. I already mentioned why it might be problematic, but I do think I am quite fond of stories where someone doesn't need saving so much as just, um, there are some things that we can not necessarily do without any help, but sometimes God damn it, it's so fucking difficult because sometimes we do need saving. Everybody needs saving sometimes, but REM should write a song about that. But yeah, sometimes it's about making a decision. I already mentioned, that is part of kicking in addiction. It doesn't mean that you can do it without any help. It doesn't mean you shouldn't have to, but you do have to make the decision. Otherwise, yeah, I already said. But yeah, Jesus. So he's gone. He's out of their view slightly, and he's like sneaking closer. He covered up the skull. Good thinking. We human beings don't tend to like to see a skull if it's not all fleshy and squishy and living and human. But yeah, telekinesis knocks, and right, and the thing, the thing about it's gonna take a little while before he recovers, and also the thing of when she, as Victoria is waking up, she does tear the wallpaper, and it's just the room, the yeah, the padded cell that she's been in, and she, there's a time where she or wait, no, sorry, that's her opening the door to the outside, and then it leads to God. That's also fucking, yeah, just she can't escape kind of thing. But yeah, when she tears the wallpaper, she just sees the little slit, I think it's called. Tries, and yeah, looks through it, and it's just the padded cell. Or does that take her into the padded cell? I forget the exact detail, but yeah. And yeah, she wakes up and yells, "Stop!" And yeah, Damon doesn't completely fracture the keeper skull, which is very fortunate because I do think they're gonna fucking need it. But yeah, the God, that was Jesus. Yeah, and yeah, when she's sitting outside and talking, and she's got the skull on her lap, and explains about how and Anna walks off. Her favorite fucking move, does it twice in this episode. I jest. Obviously, again, that is part of her character. She walks away. She's the one who walks away. Damon stays. She leaves, because different people, even if they've experienced very similar trauma, maybe even from the same person, react differently. It's not that either of these is necessarily better or worse than the other, because like Damon still clearly has, he has become very sarcastic even to people who are trying to work with him. I think, right, yeah, this is of the, let's see, I thought that wasn't last episode. I think it was the third one. But yeah, in twice in 3 episodes, she, did indeed approximate warmth to get what she wanted. But yeah, and she does walk away to talk to Chris. And yeah, him having bandages, let's go with that, on his arm. That also, yeah. So there's at least two. One thing is resembles an addict. Like he has needle marks that they had to, deal with. It could also be read as like self harm. Which, yeah, and I okay. There's gonna be some fucking pedant who didn't listen this far into the video who's gonna actually mean the comics. Yes, I realize, obviously, in the context of the show, in universe, it's because that's where the teeth marks and blood drawing was from the skull. But I think that might actually cover everything in the episode. I feel like, was there one? If I think of something after I end the stream, then I will put it in the next video I do on an episode of the show. Yeah, I am not going to say exactly when it's going to be. Should be soon. Yeah, I think that does cover. Let's see. Yeah, so shit. For those, Alien Earth, the episode that aired, I will do that video. Yeah, soon. Also, yeah. I know I already mentioned it a little bit, but the ending of this episode. She goes up and rings the bell. It would have been kind of funny if there had been, if there had been a response and like, you again, and now you brought someone else that's definitely not vetted. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, she rings the bell, and there's no response. So they look, and yeah, everything's computer. I mean, everyone's dead. Jesus Christ, that's horrible. They're never gonna get any service now.